or Lindsay, or the woman's name? Tell me.
Shir Hamaalos mima makim krosicha avaya. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, and we say this in Aseres Yimei Tshuva, that Shir Hamaalos, a song of ascent, the mima makim, from the depth, I call out to you, Hashem. Which is the idea of Tshuva, I'm calling from a very deep place, and so on. Hine mizmar zeh, nitkin leimei b'chol yem Aseres Yimei Tshuva. This capital Tehillim has been established to say every day of Aseres Yimei Tshuva, Maschil Rosh Hashanah, starting from Rosh Hashanah, Shehu Hayim Harishain Aseres Yimei Tshuva, which Rosh Hashanah is, of course, the first day of Aseres Yimei Tshuva. So starting from day 1 all the way through Yom Kippur, we say this capital every single day. The Chama Drush Rosh Hashanah Maschilim b'pasuk zeh.
Until Shmini Atzeres.
No, the Davar Hashem Oidi we say through Yeshayim Rabbah, but Shir Hamaalos.
The Chama is many, right? Many.
Yeah, multiple. Many Maimorim of the Rabbeim of Rosh Hashanah start with this capital Shir Hamaalos. Umuva is about Roshim, and it's explained in various different places. The Bepirush.
Umuvo in this case, it's basically it's been brought.
It's brought. Yeah.
It's brought. It's brought.
It's a way of saying that it's explained, but it's brought on this capital in the Maimorim. He quotes several different Maimorim in the footnotes from the Frierdiker Rebbe and the Zmayim from the Rebbe as well. When you say I call out from the depth, there's two opinions in Zohar. There's Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Yitzchak mefaresh mima makim shal ha'adam. Rabbi Yitzchak explains it's from the depth of the person. Tefillah hanal mim imkei nafshei shal ha'adam. That the above mentioned tefillah is from the depth of the person. Mim imkei mima makei hanefesh shal David HaMelech. From the depth of the soul of David HaMelech, who's saying this capital, the chen shall call echad echad mi Yisrael iver mizmar zeh. And similarly, from any yid who's saying this capital, we're calling out from the depth. Rabbi Eliezer mefarish, b'ma'amakim shalamayla asar gonos hu le'ela. And Rabbi Eliezer explains that from the depth of lemayla, which means there's a place that's concealed above. So according to Rabbi Yitzchak, it's the depth of the person that's saying the tefillah. I'm calling you from the depth. And according to Rabbi Abba in Zohar, I'm calling out from asar gonos, from a concealed place, meaning I'm evoking from a very high place lemayla.
Gonus is like the concealed.
Concealed, like a treasure.
Very concealed. Who le'ela? What's le'ela?
Above.
Like
in Shamayim. There's two opposite explanations, seemingly. One is from my depth, and one is I'm pulling from the depth of Maila. Umamshich ba'maymorim, he explains, V'nei pirush mi ma'amakim hu beis oimkim. The explanation of mi ma'amakim, it's plural. So it means from the depth, but from the depths. There's more than one depth. What is it? The Zel lefi shtei adeyes hanal. According to both opinions, regardless if it's about you or Shemayim, it's going to be two levels of depth. According to Rabbi Yitzchak, the depth within depth is from the depth of your heart. According to Rabbi Abba, it's the depth of Mamayla, but it's not one layer. It's very, very deep. It's either from the depth of myself, meaning from a very deep place, or Mamayla, it's from a very high place. He explains the He explains the main explanation here is from the two that it's going on the Maila, that a Yid is calling out from the depth of Shamayim.
Can you explain it one more time? And he continues that both of them is referred to Lamaila.
I was going to say the main one, the Iker. There's two, and each one has a double layer of depth. But the main one, the main explanation is that it's above. But what about the other one? So he says that through calling from your depth, you'll reach Lamaila. But the goal is to reach out from a higher level above. Right? Through calling you out, you reach the depth of the depth. Ad sha'ilim, until you go up. To the extent that you go up to such a level that it's beyond any levels. Whenever you say there's levels, this is higher, this is lower, differences, that's already, so to speak, a relating level. But you could go really, really deep. You go to the essence, there's no levels there. It's just the real deal. Levels means how much revelation is there? How holy is it? Well, you get to the essence, that's it. Umisham karasicha, it's infinite. From the Vira, call you out, meaning karasicha, calling means it comes forth. When you call someone, you want someone to come to you or something to come to you, it's the Yav Hamshacha of Havaya. Okay, so we said like this. Really, the main explanation is that it's above, the depth of above. And it's a double depth because you're going to the depth of the depth. However, how do you get there? When a Yid calls out from his depth, he brings out or he causes the depth from above. And not just any depth, but the depth of the depth means it's beyond levels. It's really high. So
behind levels like essence, sort of
example is like
whatever.
essence. You're going to the real deal. It doesn't say essence here, but you're going to the real deal, where it's beyond levels. It's above being divided in levels. Here's a classic example. Chassidus reconciles a machlekes. It's not a machlekes. Each one is saying something else. They're not arguing. And he says like this. What's the connection between these two explanations? One master is saying one thing, Rabbi Yitzchak says one thing, and Rabbi Abba says another thing. They're not arguing. They're talking about two different things. If you look at the basic definition of the Zohar, it's an argument. Is it my depth or it's the depth of L'mayla? But the Chassidus explains, no. They're each talking about a different concept. It's not an argument. The ability to bring forth from such a depth, which is beyond the category of any divisions. How do you get that high? It's through the depth of the heart. The only way that you're going to reach really high, that level of high, is if you go sincerely from very deep place within your heart. It's real. This comes through tshuva. The avodah of tshuva is you're going deep within yourself, and you're coming from a deep place in your heart. It's a double emek, very deep. It's not superficial, it's not external. Then you could reach the higher one. So these two opinions work together. Of course, Rabbi Yitzchak also agrees it's about L'mayla. That's the main shot. But how do you get there? You get there through avodas tshuva of the depth within yourself. It's explained in the Maimarim. It's also simply, that's the meaning of this capital. What is it? What's calling out from the depth? That's tshuva. Shir Hamaalos ma'amakim. Tfilas hatshuva. It's the tefillah of tshuva. That's what we're dealing with here. It's about tshuva, and that's the concept. So, in summary, Shir Hamaalos ma'amakim. I call out from Hashem to Hashem from my depths. What does it mean? There's two opinions in the Zohar. Is it my depth or the depth of L'mayla? Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Abba. And the truth is that each one is a double depth because there's two layers. And what it means is
2 layers. You mean to say it's just meaning to say it's reaching behind the levels.
2 levels means that there's 2 layers of depth. There's depth
beyond the level,
and there's a deeper depth. Whichever shot you take, whether it's your own depth or depth of L'mayla, there's going to be 2.
Yeah. So the second one is basically L'mayla ol the Madegas.
The second one, L'mayla, is deep down, probably as well. Yeah, I would say as well. Yeah, but
So that's what it is. Libo, the Amka de Libo is beyond the Madregas as well. Then
he doesn't say that, but it makes sense. It makes sense. We're going very deep.
Because if he says 2,
yeah. You have to remember tshuva. The way tshuva works is you go beyond levels. That's what tshuva is. You're basically saying, despite what I did, we're going to forgive it. So, what do you mean forgave it? You messed up. There's even higher than that, where it turns into a mitzvah. It's as if it's a schus. It's separate. But yes, you're going very deep, and it's beyond. It's not as restricted, let's say.
are there any instructions Maimorim to do that? Like different Maimorim?
That's the next thing, yeah. Well, Havins, I have to understand this. How is it that through tshuva you could bring forth from emek l'fnimi emek? You're basically telling me like this: if you do tshuva, you're going to reach a depth which is so high, it's beyond levels. Really, what do I do? Like Label said, what's the instructions? So to understand how you could through tshuva reach that, we have to first introduce this, that the Maimer from the Frierdiker Rebbe, which was said 50 years before this, in the year Tirchatz. Tirchatz is an acronym for washing. rinsing. The year spells out Tafresh Tzadik Ches, which is 1938. But if you rearrange the letters, it means washing.
Not a good year.
There are two. The Fidik explains that there are two levels in tshuva. Inyan of tshuva, Mahosat tshuva. The two levels are the idea of tshuva, Inyan of tshuva, and Mahosat tshuva, the very content of tshuva. What is tshuva? The idea of tshuva, Mahosat tshuva. The Inyan of tshuva, tshuva al yanim pratiyim, ayafilu al yanim klolim. The idea of tshuva is, Inyan of tshuva represents you're doing tshuva on details, specific things. It doesn't have to be details, but it's very specific. Or maybe general things. But what's the minus of that? Even though tshuva is not necessarily a certain aveira or blemish or crime, he's going up a level in his own good. In other words, I'm here, whether it's fixing an aveira which has to be fixed, or just in general, I'm trying to improve my aveiras Hashem. Tshuva is not just for an aveira; it's gotta get better. So the inyan of tshuva is I'm zeroing in on a certain area of my aveira, or a general idea of my aveira, but basically I'm getting better.
It's in reference to the protim and klolim.
Yeah.
That's what you just said.
Correct. He's going and progressing in the completion, meaning the wholeness of his Aveda. It should be complete. Until this particular Aveda is proper. So you're working on your Aveda and you're davening, or you're working on your certain midos. It's not an Aveda that you did. You're improving. You're doing more tshuva, better and better and better, and you're growing until you reach proper expression or behavior or action of that particular thing. That's the inyan of tshuva. There's an area that's lacking, I'm improving it. General Aveda. Until the extent that through completing all the details, his general Aveda is proper. That's the inyan of tshuva. I'm working on myself, I'm growing, I'm becoming better, and I go higher and higher until you reach a level. It's always higher and higher, but it's appropriate. It's the way it's demanded of this person. He's davening properly, he's learning, he's behaving correctly. It's kiddush. That's inyan of tshuva. Very high thing, very powerful, very big, but there's a minus to that. However, Mahosat tshuva, the other thing, that was inyan of tshuva. Mahosat tshuva, which means the content of it, that from the place where he's standing now, in his spiritual level, his spiritual situation, he goes up. He transports himself. He just moves over the makim naila yesa to a loftier place. You can get stuck on the details. Do a little more of this, a little more of that, better. It's good, and you'll do fine. But you can have a total paradigm shift where you went from here, now I'm here. That's mahosat tshuva. It's not just an improvement. Of course, things have to be improved. You got to take care of them. You got to clean up messes. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to get there.
Those little details no longer matter. They just, it's completely different.
They won't matter. In other words, they'll be fixed almost automatically, but they still have to be fixed. When we were learning this before, I shared the example, right? A person could be very into, negative things. He's a teenager, let's say. Okay, he's into silly stuff. Call it pop culture. Okay. One approach is, okay, let's try to minimize the amount of time I spend on it. Let me not be so into it. Let me, and slowly improve. And it's good. And you'll improve, and you'll eventually, right? Or you could shift. I now focus on learning, on davening, on spiritual things. All that stuff falls by the wayside. It's not even that I got better and better. There's a shift. That's the mahosat tshuva. The attitude is totally different.
The attitude, okay.
And it takes a person to a much higher place. She's in a new situation. He's not at all in the situation that he was before then. He's in a completely different place.
Called leap of faith, it's called.
Leap, yeah. Einei be'erech, it's not even comparable to what it was before. Because till now, the inyan of tshuva is it's comparable. I'm better than I was. 1,000 times better, 1,000,000 times better. But we're in the
But
same
I'm
category.
still, yeah.
Right? He goes up to a higher level, which is not at all comparable. It's not relative at all. You can't say this is higher, this is lower. That whole description doesn't apply. Lashon Alien shows that there's a higher level, there's a lower level, and I'm higher, relatively speaking, I'm higher than I was before. You're almost like you're in the same package, you're just better, right? Which is good, but it's not as great as Mehos HaTshuva. However, when you're dealing with Mehos of Tshuva, it's not in the category of higher or lower. What are you talking? It's not. That's not the lingo here. It doesn't make sense. He's not shaykh. He has no relationship at all with the situation that he was before then.
That before that.
Yeah, l'mal yusa in a good way. So, when a person has full transformation, complete shift, he has no shaykhs to the old way.
It's irrelevant completely.
Yeah. That's Mehos HaTshuva. We're not looking, we are, but the ideal is to get to a level where it's not just, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to, I could have, I'm a little better. That's still me, I'm just not doing it. You want to completely shift. It becomes a complete new existence. It came from nothing and zero literally. And through this, that a person is standing now in a situation, in a status that's not at all comparable to before. He's like a new existence. That automatically affects all the details of his Aveda. The details of the details is a different place, different person. Let's just say, before he was very coarse and grub and into like bad things or materialistic things, not forbidden, materialistic and very, try to improve, or you just shift your focus and your whole thing towards spirituality, as an example. All that stuff, it's like, it's out. It's not even better or worse. It's different reality.
It's not out. It's just he looks at it differently, right? How to use it to achieve what he wants, as opposed to the end goal.
How many cases in history that somebody made such a transformation?
So he's very specific. The Rebbe uses terms here: Metzius Chadasha, new reality, new existence. Me'ayin ve'efes, from zero, from nothing, literally, like it's new reality. It's not a small level. It's not like, the example that I gave. Now he's learning.
Right.
It's a totally different shift. But it exists. Of course it exists.
You did.
No.
Everything should be fixed properly.
When he does that shift.
Yeah. It affects it. Everything else it causes it. Because he's in a new situation and status. In a way, everything he does is good. I'm a different person. The Chazal tell us in Pirkei Avos, Perek Daled, and this is also the order of how it says. Chazal say tshuva and ma'asim tovim. Talks about the difference in this world and that world, but tshuva, ma'asim tovim, we got to do tshuva and good deeds. What's the order for tshuva first? If you do proper tshuva, then automatically ma'asim tovim are good. Like, what am I going to do? Bad things? I did tshuva. That's who I am. I'm into that world. Through tshuva, will have the ultimate completion in his actions. And the ultimate completion in good. Wholeness in good. And the ultimate wholeness in the Yid who's doing the Ma'asim Tevim. So tshuva, Ma'asim Tevim, if I do tshuva, Mehos HaTshuva, then the Ma'asim are going to be Tevim. It'll be proper Ma'asim, it'll be proper Tevim, and whole the Yid that's doing it. Everything is like succinct. Shir Hamaalos. This is what it means. Shir Hamaalos.
But you said asud b'ma'asim tovim.
Oisei, the one that does the ma'asim tovim.
Sorry.
Zeo Shir Hamaalos b'mimah makim krosich havaya. And this is what it means, Shir Hamaalos. From the depths I call out to you, Hashem. Da'idei tshuva me'umkot libo. Through tshuva from the depth of the heart. Meaning, oimek lefnimi oimek, plural. It's the depth within the depth. Shimuhos tshuva. The question was, how do you say that through going deeply, calling out from a deep place, deep of deep, you'll reach l'mayla higher than his talkers, right? The answer is, well, inyan tshuva is nice, but muhos tshuva will get you there. Muhos tshuva is the idea of depth of the depth within yourself, and that takes the person to a level which is depth of the l'mayla, beyond this chalkos. It's a totally transformation of the person. Through that you call from above the depth of the depth. You evoke that, you bring it down. In other words, you access it. To such a level that it's not at all categories. The term categories don't apply here. Because when you say higher and lower, that means you're relative to before. Right? So this is beyond. Through this level of tshuva, which is muhus, which gets you to the emek l'fnimi emek, the depth of the depth of umayla, which is beyond levels and categories, then gets fulfilled all of the requests in this capital of Tillim. Hashem should listen to me and hear my voice and so on, hear my call. You bring forth the emek from above, the depth which is beyond, from the depths which is plural. He's higher than any category of deep. Can't even say deep. What do you mean deep? Deeper than what? And that level which you just access, which is beyond the higher and lower, it's not even called deep anymore. That level comes down and it gets revealed. Mamish gam bizman, it gets revealed in literally, also time-wise, meaning take it from yad right now, right away. V'yebitul kol ha'agbolos, all the boundaries will become nullified, meaning the restrictions. The gilui ein seif ha'amiti lemata, and the relation of the true infinite Eibishter down here, light of Hashem down here. Meaning the world is not going to be a limitation or a boundary, a concealment for godliness anymore. You say to Mizu, the more so, by Hashem, there's no top and bottom. It's all lower levels, higher, lower. If you go to the deep depth of the depth, which is a result of Mosat Tshuva, when you access that, you bring it down. There's no top bottom. It's all one. Top bottom means there's lower. There's no lower. It's all one. That is founded and happens through this, that the depth of the Yid and the depth from above become one. How do you cause in this world such a level that the godliness is so revealed, the levels that you can't even specify as higher and lower? How do you do that? One. It's through this that the depth of the Yid, the depth of the Maila become one. We're connected so strong. That the Yid and Hashem is really one. In other words, you get united to such a level, you access that, you brought it down, it gets revealed, now it's all one.
Amazing.
So instead of zeroing in on Tshuva, which has to happen, and say it's this Avera and this terrible thing, and Shanu is, you have to do it. You must have to confess before Yom Kippur. It's not to Hashem. At Yom Kippur we do it right before we start, right? And at Yom Kippur we do it 5 times. Achit. But we're looking for a relationship with Hashem which is very, very deep. It's a shift. It's from a deep place within myself. Okay, I obviously got to clean up, but it's not about, okay, I fixed it, I'm good, right? Okay. It's more than that, according to Chassidus.
Take care, boy.
Gemara Chasima Teva.